Dana White dropping a huge announcement this morning with the UFC 308 card in Abu Dhabi this October. I feel like this is the fifth time I've said it this year, but a potential card of the year, maybe the most highly anticipated fight of the year with Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. Topuria making his first title defense after beating Alexander Volkanovski in January. This is the fight everybody wanted, right? It seemed like for a while they might give Volk a rematch. Then after UFC 300 with one of the best moments in UFC history with Max Holloway's knockout in the final second over Justin Gaethje, it was very clear this guy was next in line for the title shot. But that is not all. In the co-main event, Khamzat Chimaev makes his return to the octagon and they rebook him versus Robert Whittaker. This fight was supposed to take place in June. Khamzat Chimaev, the common cold got him once again, and he pulled out at the last minute. Ikram Aliskerov hopped in, and Robert Whittaker knocked his ass out inside 2 minutes. Right after the fight, it seemed like Robert Whittaker wanted nothing to do with rebooking the Khamzat fight, but here we have it anyway. You know, a lot of people said we were going to see a Strickland versus Whittaker #1 contender fight. But I guess, you know, Dana White privilege, they get Khamzat back in there. It's got to be very demoralizing when you go through a whole training camp for someone and then they pull out at the last minute, again, especially a guy like Khamzat, right, who's done that multiple times before.
Smash.
An absolute banger of a fight. One of the most highly anticipated fights of the year, no doubt, when they were booked in June. And I think most fans are very, very excited to finally get to see that one after getting canceled at the last minute. But we don't stop there. A couple more massive announcements, some very big high-level fights on this card. Ciryl Gane makes his long-awaited return. I guess they finally finished recording Garfield 2 or whatever movie this guy was in, fucking Jason Statham Jr. The guy's been getting a lot of hate recently for his inactivity, but here he is against Alexander Volkov. The guy has got a, NBA record at the All-Star break. The guy's fought a million times, and he's been in the UFC forever, but he's on a little bit of a run right now. I believe he's won 4 in a row. Again, the guy's been in the top 10 forever. Never really able to get over that hump. And this is a rematch. The first fight took place in 2021. Ciryl Gane 50-45'd him. I don't know how much Volkov has improved since then, but still a banger nonetheless. Volkov deserved a big fight. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Great fight. We are not done there, ladies and gentlemen. Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira. Nope, not even close.
Holy shit.
The guy has been calling for a title shot forever. And guess what, buddy? When you're a bum, when you're a crotch sniffer, they don't give it to him, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because I don't want to see that fight. I do wonder what this means for Pereira, but a very exciting fight nonetheless versus Alexander Rakic. I was talking to anyone who would listen after UFC 300. I thought Rakic looked incredible in that fight. He was absolutely dominating Yuri before, Yuri turned up that samurai spirit using that dark magic that Pereira got him with a couple months later. Again, he was dominating the fight until he wasn't. I thought that was the best version of Alexander Rakic that we had seen in the UFC octagon. This was a guy who I thought had champ potential for a while, and we were just waiting for him to kind of fully reach that potential. And I thought it all came together for him versus Rakic. I said that a couple years ago when he was fighting Jan Blachowicz. He looked great in that fight until, he blew out his knee. He misses a couple years. And then he makes his return versus Yuri, and I thought he looked awesome in this fight. This guy's fast for that 205-pound division. Not only is he as big as possible, he might be the biggest guy in that weight class, but he's also so fast, man. His boxing, his kickboxing looked crisp in that fight. We've seen his takedowns in the past. We've seen that he has high-level wrestling. So this is a very, very interesting matchup versus Ankalaev, who, again, many think this guy is the best fighter in that 205-pound weight class and deserving of a title shot. But when you beat Johnny Walker, I'm not sure you deserve it. And when you're dealing with Alex Pereira, one of the biggest stars in the sport, they're going to try to keep him away from a stylistic matchup like Ankalaev, who, again, is not the biggest star. So another very interesting matchup. UFC 308, an absolute banger of a card. It feels like the fifth time this year I'm saying potential card of the year, but come on, man. Look at this main card. I am very excited for this one.